In 2019, there was a huge dispute between Sony and Marvel for the character Spider-Man. Sony has for a long time owned the rights to Spider-Man, receiving 100% of box office profit from the movie's productions, while headed by Marvel, who only receives revenue from merchandise sales, as Sony finances the movies 100%. While there was some success from the 2002 to 2007 iteration and 2012 to 2014 iterations of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man has been widely well received, with the latest movie making over $1 billion. The negotiation was to create a co-financing agreement where Marvel, who was newly acquired by Disney, will have some financial interest in the box office. Sony was interested in retaining their leverage with 100% profit share at the box office. While the success has been attributed to Marvel and President Kevin Feige, Sony financially supported these movies and were equally responsible for their success. They were confident in their abilities to take this established character, craft their own universe, the Spider-Verse, and began to develop projects like Venom and Morbius. Despite the success of the sharing agreement between Sony and Marvel, the success of the expansion of Marvel's cinematic universe and the new projects they would be taking on, Sony felt Feige was stretched too thin and unable to give the attention they desired to the character Spider-Man and any future projects. Sony was ready for the success or failures of the future of Spider-Man properties to solely fall in their hands. Marvel was interested in a co-financing agreement where there was a 75% share to Sony and a 25% profit share to Marvel of box office sales. With a larger universe to play with, there was relatively no limits for the Spider-Man character. Given the newer, younger iteration of Spider-Man, they were able to make him a prominent player as both a member of the Avengers and as an individual character as well. With Iron Man played by Robert Downey Jr. and Captain America played by Chris Evans, both ending their contracts, there are possibilities for the role of Spider-Man to be the lead of Marvel for years to come. Three big factors that played a role in this negotiation were mediation. For the most part, this negotiation was handled in-house and never went to trial. This was due to the fact that the sharing agreement was clear, and once it ended, it was Sony's decision to proceed to move forward without an agreement. They had every right to do so, and there was no need to take it to trial as no one was wronged in the situation. The responsibility to negotiate fell onto Marvel as they were needed to present the best option for both parties to win, and that is exactly what they did. Another big success in the situation was the rapport between the two companies. This was an important tool for Marvel, as it was mentioned how the partnership was a successful one. And how could you not want more success, as that would be bad business? There was some success with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man run being the number 4 most profitable movie for Sony. However, the Sony-Marvel collaborations are the number 1 and number 5 top grossing movies for Sony. There was also mention in the role played by Kevin Feige, who is an avid and public fan of Spider-Man, and how his role was an influential but not singular piece that drove the success of the partnership. All in all, referring to game theory, all in all, this was a win-win situation for Sony, Disney, and Marvel. As long as they were able to negotiate a new agreement, there was no way either side could lose. Some may consider a profit share a loss, but with their combined powers, there is a limited amount of profit to be made in this partnership. While there would be an obvious success had Sony continued to move forward independently, it was a huge risk because you would essentially have to relaunch a popular Keystone character. The character of Spider-Man is a huge piece of both Sony and Marvel's plans for the future, and ending the agreement would be a huge task in rewriting the future of these companies. A very overlooked role in this negotiation process was the role played by Tom Holland. I think this was the ultimate win-win for Sony, Disney, Marvel, and even Tom Holland. They are allowed to share what can be expected to be continued success while both are able to continue to develop their own universes, making Spider-Man able to live in two places at once. Tom Holland will shortly be awarded a much-deserved contract extension and possibly increase. I think what went well was Tom Holland using his voice to speak to his happiness with the role and willingness to move forward and speak to the possibilities of Spider-Man continuing on either side. There's a now infamous story of him calling Disney CEO Bob Iger wanting to remain a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was called by the Disney CEO after attending a bar with his family and hopped on a call thankful for the opportunity, and while weeping, expressed his passion and interest to remain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's where he got his big break as an actor as well as with the character. What I feel like went wrong in this negotiation was how public this dispute was. In my opinion, what went wrong was how much transparency was given to the public. They quickly revealed that the agreement ended within weeks of Spider Man Far From Home's release, which went on to make $1 billion. In addition, for them to agree to the terms that Disney and Marvel initially presented after weeks of public spectacle made it seem as though there were alternative reasons for the initial negotiations falling through. The new agreement includes a profit share where Sony will finance 75% of the combined Spider Man projects, with Marvel financing 25% and retaining their rights to merchandise. This will continue to be a long lasting relationship as the two movie deal allows for them to now share in the box office success of the character. As each side continues to develop their own universe, there was no denying the success of the previous agreement, as it has quickly surpassed the success of the five previous Spider Man films Sony did on their own. Sony was very interested in continuing to share success and encouraged to continue their own world building off the back of the success of their Spider Man animated movie, Spider Man Into the Spider Verse. The new agreement is sure to continue to please moviegoers and comic book lovers alike as they look to set and break new records moving forward. With Kevin Feige as the lead, making concessions in the future production processes, there is no limit to the height that this partnership can reach.